pressing delete, it goes off. And to add, you can either come to the add button over here, or you press shift A. When you press shift A, it shows a different option of adding things that you can add onto the user interface, onto the workspace. So we want a cube, so we come into the mesh, we look around, we select a cylinder. So we select a cylinder, and we have our cylinder. Now we are looking at the cylinder like this because we pressed the 3. So for you to view the topmost part of the cylinder, you press 7. You can see the topmost part of the cylinder as this point. Now the first thing to know is you have to change your scales. You have to change your measurement, your unit of measurement. And to do that, to change the unit of measurement, what do you go? You come over here and click. We have a transformation. Now we have transformation by location. So you want to place all of these things at the point of 0. So you make sure everything is 0. See, when we put in 0, the object shifts immediately. 0. So making sure the object is at point 0, so everything is stable. Now what do? We scale. You can scale. Now to change the unit, you come to scene, that's context, scene. You click on unit, and remember to always let it be at the metric state, metrics. And since we are working in centimeters, you change here to centimeters. Now when you change to centimeters, always try to check if it's okay or not. Just have your object selected, then you press S to scale. You move around and see what dimension it gives. You see we have 4 point. So you see that it's not going bad, and you can still come here, you reduce, maybe it's 0.01 dot. Now if you click on the Control Z to let your object go back to normal, we have 0.01, enter. Now let's try to move this object around. Now if you say we want to move this object, now if I want to move this object on the Y plane, only on the Y axis, I press G and Y. You see, when I press G and Y, there's a line that comes up just adjacent to that axis, just to tell you, to make you understand that this object can be moved only in that direction and no other direction. You cannot move it to the right, you cannot move it to the left, only in that one direction. So we have G. So you see our dimension is 0.00 centimeter. See, we have it at 0.07. So if we have to move to this point, we have 10.46 centimeters. So what do? Now we press GY, so we can still press the figures. We can still input the figure to be 2. If you click 2, you look over here, we have it bracket here, 2 centimeter along global Y. So it's moving only along the Y axis. You see that? So you go Control Z to get your object, or you can delete. When you delete the figure, you see it goes back to 0. If you press 5, it moves to 5. Delete. If you press 10, it moves to 10. You see? If you delete the figure 1, delete the figure. If you go 20, it goes to 20. You delete. Okay, now we have our object like this. Now we want to scale the object. So what do? We left click to discard that changes of movement. Now we go to the scale. Now we want to scale our object. We press scale. Now we want the circumference. So how are we going to make the circumference of this? So if you look, now we have 111-ish. So the height is 1, the width is 1, and everything is 1. So what do we want to do? We want to put in in relation to what we want. So we make everything 3. So we click 3 and enter. So we have a cube this way. You can check it up by using 2 to look up, or 8 to look down, 6 to look left, to look right, 4 to look left. Now we have our object, 3 to look into it from the side. Now we have our object at this point, which we are very pleased. So what next? We need to scale the bottom of the cup, since every cup you have, it's not that much straight, so we need to get a curly cup for the tea. So what do? We turn over to the other side and select the edit mode. Now we select edit mode, or you can press the tab key. When you press the tab, it goes automatically to the edit mode. Now we have the edit mode. With the edit mode, you can see the vertex, you can see the edges, and you can see the faces. And to switch between vertex selection, edge selection, and the face selection, which we have over here, you can either click on the icons themselves, or you press the numeric value 2, 1, 2, 3, where 1 stands for the edges, for the vertex, 2 stands for the edges, and 3 stands for the face. Now if I have to press 3, you see the faces are selected, so all the vertex are deselected on the object. Now if I press 1, only the vertex, so we cannot select a face, we can only select a vertex. You see what's happening? Now if I press 2, we can only select an edge, this edge, or this edge, or this edge. You see that? So we need a face. We go for 3, so we select this face and we look into it and we scale. Now since the other face, which will be the topmost part of the cup, is scaled at 3, we will need to scale this face a little bit, like 0.5 different. So you press S to scale 2.5. So it was 3 before, so if we're going (1.5), we have it this way. We left click to view, so you have it looking somehow like this. Now, but it's really big, we cannot use it this way, so we just go Ctrl Z to deselect, and we look into the face. So we look into the face of the cup by clicking. So we have 3, we click 7, we look into the face of the cup, we select this face and we scale. So we have 1, 1. If we go by 2, 2, it's really much big, so we go by 0.8. Yes, 0.8. I think 0.8 will be very good. Yes. So we have the cup at this point. Now if you look into 3, you have it shaped like this. If you look into 7, you find it this way. So you see, you can see the edge of the cup on the other side. That's great. Now you turn the cup and make sure you can see the topmost part of it. And what do? We insert a face. Now for us to insert the face, you select the face and then you click I. Now we want to insert a face of, let's say, we do a thickness of 0.05 of thickness. Select the face, insert, so we can basically just shift it by hand and we have it this way. And we select. Now we have a face added onto this, so you can see the face over here, and we look through by 3 or by 7 or by 9 or by 1, so depending on what you want. So we have our cup over here. So what do we want to do now? We need to extrude the inner part of the cup. So we go by 3. And we come over here, and since we have a face selected already, we select this face and we click the X-ray mode to view everything, and we turn around. So since we know the height of our cup, we need to extrude downward. So you click E and you extrude this object downward. Now when you extrude, what do you find? You find out that it's running out of the normal scale. You check it out, you will see that it's running out of this one. So what do you need to do? You need to scale it up to make sure it's of the same, it's in the inner portion of that one. So what do? We click the scale and we reduce. Okay, we reduce right up to this point and we click enter. And if you view that, this is how it will look like. Now you come out of the X-ray mode to view the cup nicely. If you view, this is how the cup would look like. You see, we have the bottommost part of the cup at this point. You see? So this is the inner portion of the cup where we will pour our tea. And we need to create the bottom of the cup. So what do? We use 7, we select. Now we select this face and we insert a face onto this plane. Now we have to insert a face based on the fact that we're viewing the inner one, so they will actually match up. So what do? We go to the X-ray mode. Now we see the inner face ending here, so that's where our face 2 on the downer part needs to end. So what do? We scale this face. Sorry, discard. we need to insert a face. Sorry, we go I to insert, and we reduce to that level. We reduce to the same size as the inner part of the curve, and we select this. Now if you have a view of it, you see that they are the same circumference. Now what do we need to do? We need to extrude this as well. So we have the 3 selected. Now we click on extrude. We extrude that inside. So but we always need to make sure there is a space between the ending point and the inner part of the curve. You see the bottom and the inner part of the curve, there must always be a space. So we must always make sure that space is kept. So we can still scale this up so as to get a unique shape of the curve, because if you look at the curve is thicker at this point. You see the curve is very thick at this point, but that isn't a problem depending on how much volume you want the curve to contain. If you want the curve to contain something more, of course you can make it a little bit thinner, so it takes more substance. But at this point we are not really doing bad. This is very great. So over here, what do we need to do? We remove the X-ray mode, and we have our curve like this. We zoom out to view nicely. Good. We zoom out to move nicely and to view every angle of the curve. Perfect. Now you can take a look at this curve in the view mode. So you go to the object mode. This is how our curve will look like. This is just it. Woo! Fantastic. Now you can see the curve. We already created this curve nicely, and I'm enjoying the way it looks. So we go back to edit mode, so we can do some more things like adding the handle and beveling to make sure we have a round surface where the leaves can have a nice sip of the tea or coffee which we are to serve in this cup. So click on 3 to make sure our object is well positioned, so we can easily view every single thing we want to view out of it. So we take a nice view of the curve and see if there's any problem. No, we don't have any problem. We don't have any problem. So what do we do now? We create a handle. Now how do we create a handle? It's something very much amazing. You can either create a handle by adding up another object and bringing it to the curve, or you just select some faces of the curve, you extrude, and then you have to do some cut. And how can you do that? It's something nice, very nice.